So I just got back from Bible study. It went well, and we talked about our basically our habits or our hobbies, like what could be a weapon formed against us that we do on a daily basis. And everybody went around in a circle, and there was this guy that talked about, he does puzzles, and he does like a lot of arts and crafts, and he said he feel like this could be a weapon against him because he would do arts and crafts more than he would be into the Bible. So maybe that could be sometimes taken away from him, taken away from God. And I was like, I kind of just added on to that, and I was just like, well, when we're participating in any activity, handcrafted, what are we doing? What are most of us doing is emotionally using that as an emotional tactic to kind of draw us away from our current situation or whatever we're going through in life, or just kind of just like trying to like swallow a chill pill, so we reflect and we project how we feel onto this activity, such as, some people like coloring, some people like drawing, some people like doing puzzles, some people like, clay sculpting, some people like doing these type of stuff, but it's all to release those emotions of how we feel towards a person or a situation. This person made me feel a certain way, so I'm going to go paint. That's what I did when I painted. I'm going by my own experience. When I used to paint, I used to just like it's like chalking up my heart in a moment. It's like instead of, giving all these people my heart for them to devour it or for them to chew it up and spit it out, I'm going to just reflect onto this painting, and I'm going to just paint away all those emotions, and my painting will kind of be a reflection of that moment of how I felt. Whatever colors that's on that painting will just reflect, that moment, and it's for that moment. So when we go back to that painting or we go back to the activity, we're reminded of, oh yeah, I felt this way when I drew this. Oh, I felt this way when I did this. And I just kind of said that, God works in a way of, I don't want you doing this anymore. I don't want you doing that anymore. I kind of want you to just open and pour out your heart onto me. God wants to be that activity. God wants to be that puzzle. God wants to be that that painting. God wants to be that drawing. God wants to be whatever you're using as a therapeutic activity. That's what God wants to be in your life, and that's how I feel towards my situation. I was like, sometimes, when we do stuff but we include God into the situation, God will give you that self-control, some type of control towards whatever you're doing. And that was what we were talking about. Some people said, some weapons that I feel, I said anger is a certain weapon that we need to kind of just expunge or take away from, take away from us, because hate is definitely a characteristic that just triumphs everything. It triumphs happiness. Hate is that cloud in the midst of a rainbow. But then again, everything has its reason. Without that cloud, there would be no rainbow. So there's a reason for everything. Another person said music. They said they actually had to turn away from their favorite station that played a lot of, I think they said 80s music or 60s music. He said he had to turn away from this song or turn away from this station because it aggravated him so much. And I was just like, why? I asked him, I'm like, what made it so aggravating? Like, what was it on that station that kind of just aggravated you or frustrated you? And in the midst of thinking this, I'm just thinking like, okay, so sometimes that's your intuition speaking. That's God speaking in you saying, this is frustrating. When it becomes frustrating, when it becomes nerve-wracking, when it becomes aggravating, God is telling you to step away from it. Step away from it. Maybe later on when you include God into your life or God into that situation, God will maybe have you come back in a new state of mind and kind of just listen to what was aggravating you to that point. You know, what was it that was aggravating you, and then take a lesson from that. Oh, you know, now that I went and read some scriptures and I talked to God about it, now I can approach the situation differently. Oh, now I know what it is in the station that was aggravating me, and you listen and you're like, okay, now I'm learning a little bit about me. You know, I'm learning a little bit more about myself and what aggravated me in this situation. So God is telling you to step away from it. And that's what he said he did. He had to step away from it. It used to be his favorite music station, but he had to step away from it because all of a sudden it became nerve-wracking to him. Some people said that words, you know, he was like, it's so many colorful words out there you can use, and I had to just kind of you know, die down my language a little bit because I was taking it a little bit too far. So some people said that, and that's just like the question of the day today, you know. What weapon do you feel is used against us the most of our own doing? What weapon is used against us that God is telling you to put down, you know, and turn to me instead? What is God saying in your life today that you need to put down? What's that weapon you need to put down right now today so that you can focus more on what God has in store for you? So, yeah, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, be notified, and share at your own free will to show you care. I hope you got a message out of this, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.